Lester Levenson always said that releasing is simple and it's easy. However, sometimes we feel like we just can't let go of a negative feeling or a negative thought or a desire that we don't want. We just feel stuck. Well, today, I'm going to show you a very simple and effective way to overcome stuckness quickly and easily every single time. Check this out. Welcome to the Power of Quiet, the simple way to self-realization. So if you want total control over your mind and more happiness and abundance in your life, then you've come to the right place. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. You're going to love what we show you because it's 100% experiential, meaning you have to believe me, but you could take it for checking, try it for yourself, and see the results that you get. And if you're a regular here and you love the results that you get, it makes a big difference in your life, then let us know. Hit the like button below and share your experiences. Share your gains in the comments below and share this video with your friends. Let's help get this wonderful method out to the world so the world can be a much better place for all of us to live in. Now, when it comes to releasing, when it comes to letting go, sometimes we know we're doing it and we know that it works. Sometimes we just feel stuck. Like we know that there's a heavy feeling, a fear, a frustration, a regret, and we're trying to let it go, but we're just not getting anywhere. And this phenomena of stuckness, it's something that we all experience. It's a normal thing. That's why Lester put it in the 6 steps, a commentary about stuckness and what to do about it. And the thing is that a lot of times when we struggle with stuckness, we end up beating ourselves up, and that just makes the situation worse. Like I hear all the time, I should be a better releaser than this. I've been doing this for 10 years, 15 years, and I should be able to let this go. I know I should let this go, but I just can't seem to let it go. What's wrong with me? Maybe I'm a horrible releaser after all, something like that. And the thing is, when it comes to releasing, we have to understand what it is that we're letting go of, what it is that we're moving towards, right? Our goal, what we're trying to achieve, and how this releasing works in order to get us there. And to highlight this, I want to go over kind of like the hierarchy of what it is that we're releasing and how it gets us to our goal. And what I say is a benchmark of achieving that goal is having a quiet mind. Now, this isn't anything that's new. All the masters, whether their method is through prayer or meditation, they all point to the same destination where your mind is quiet. And when some masters talk about surrendering, it's like you have to set your ego aside. You have to set your mind aside and surrender to the oneness, right? To God, right? The greater presence, that sort of a thing. And all of that is about getting that mind quiet. And the mind is our biggest obstacle. It's just chattering away, making noise, distracting us, pulling us down, pulling us into our feelings. And Lester, when he talked about thinking and feelings, sometimes he kind of referenced them as both the same thing, like a thought and a feeling. You experience it almost simultaneously, like a thought-feeling phenomena. Now, as far as this hierarchy goes, at the top level, at the surface level, we have thoughts. And underneath the thoughts, you could look at it like as a layer underneath it. we have the feelings. And underneath our feelings, we have desires. And so when we look at this hierarchy, we see where it all comes from the desire in the first place. Because, for example, when we look at this middle ground, the feelings, if we feel frustrated or angry, why do we feel that way? It's because we're not getting something that we desire, right? We're desiring something, it's not working out our way. Therefore, those negative feelings of frustration, anger come up. Same thing with fear, right? If we weren't wanting safety, we wouldn't have fear. It just wouldn't exist. Now, out of the feelings, you have the thoughts. So, when you're experiencing a great deal of anger and frustration, look at how that stimulates the mind. Right? So you're in the feeling, and then the thoughts are feeding off of that, raging with story after story after story, and it just won't shut up, right? Because it's being fueled by the feeling. And Lester pointed out this hierarchy. He pointed out that for every feeling, like fear or anger that you release, just one feeling, you release thousands of thoughts that are tied with that feeling. And that's a good way of releasing and a good way of quieting your mind. If you can just let the feelings go, right? For every feeling you let go of, you let go of thousands of thoughts, then over time your mind just gets quieter and quieter and quieter. Now, even deeper than that is the desire. So if you can let go of one desire, for each desire, that can stimulate all sorts of feelings. Let's say hundreds of feelings for that one desire. So if you can let go of that one desire, you can let go of hundreds of thoughts or hundreds of feelings. And for each of those hundreds of feelings, you let go of 1,000 thoughts. So that's like 100,000 thoughts wiped away just by letting go of that one desire at the baseline. So as we look at this hierarchy, we can make sense of this. We experience how this works. And so what this brings me to and how to easily overcome stuckness is, you see, one of the things that really hangs us up when we're releasing is this top layer of thoughts, of thinking. And so let's say that we're trying to release on a feeling. Now, I just want to point out how what we do here on this channel is really working at this middle layer. When we do the releases that we do here on YouTube, we're releasing on, just feeling that contraction in the stomach or chest, and we'll do that in a second, which is kind of working at the feeling level. And I've mentioned before that it's a good demonstration for releasing because it gives you instant feedback and proof that you can let these negative feelings go. You don't have to sit around and manage them, deal with them, fight with them. You can just simply release. You can release all of your fear. You can release all of your negative feelings. And as you release them, you see that when you release them, that they're gone permanently. And over time, as you bring up fear and you let it go, you can look back and you can see the difference between where you are versus where you used to be. And so it is a good demonstration. But the real work and the method, and what Lester's method is all about, is going to the baseline, the root of it all, and release on the desire. And so here on this channel, we don't do that because that is something that really brings in a lot of skill sets. And what I say is that it's in your interest, if you want to get good at this and get good at Lester's method, to show up at a class, or at least take the basic course, because it really gives you the whole foundation, the whole structure for making this successful in using Lester's 6 steps. But basically, what I'm going to share with you about how to overcome stuckness. It works at both of these levels. It works at whether you're releasing on feelings like we do here, or you're working using Lester's method, using the 6 steps. It works just the same when you're letting go of a desire. And so this is how it works. Now, like I said, one of the things that gets in our way is what's at the surface, the thoughts. And like Lester said, we kind of experience thoughts and feelings almost simultaneously, right? They kind of work together. So we have a feeling, and then we have all the thoughts that basically uphold the feeling or validate the feeling. Now, say you are releasing on a body issue, right? You're sick, or you get some diagnosis. You're like, uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. What do I do about this? How do I let this go? And you have fear about it. And so you zero in on the fear, go, okay, well, maybe I'll let the fear go. That'd be a good idea. And you're trying to release the fear on this body issue thing that you're confronting, and you just can't seem to let it go. Well, what's really getting in your way is, while you're focusing on the feeling of fear, you also probably have that mind interjecting at the same time, talking about how this is so critical that you need to find a resolution to this. You gotta find an answer. You gotta get rid of this problem, because of X, Y, Z. It gives you all the reasons, and it keeps talking at you. And it's also like something that I experienced a lot with trading, where I would end up making a mistake, having a bad trade, and it would kind of send me off on a spin. I'd just feel out of control. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't trust myself. And I would feel completely out of control about the situation, not knowing what to do. And so I have an out of control feeling, right? And a frustrated feeling. And at the same time, my mind is spinning. It's trying to figure out, okay, what did I do wrong? How do I not make this mistake again? And on and on and on. And while I'm trying to just let go of feeling out of control about the situation, my mind is just buzzing, with all of its narrative. And so basically, this is the situation that a lot of us find ourselves in when we're stuck, is that we have the feeling and the thoughts that are just spinning around that feeling. And it's like a 1-2 punch, right? We're getting hit on one side with the feeling, right? The heaviness. And we're also getting hit on the other side with the spinning in the mind. And it just won't shut up. It won't talk about the scenario that's oh so important that we have to resolve so that we can feel good again. So here's the solution. Knowing that both of these are happening simultaneously, we need to remove one of these out of the equation. And that is the surface level. That's the thoughts. And what I say is, when you're looking to release on a situation, to really be cognizant of what's going on in your mind and making a decision, right? I own that mind. It belongs to me. It's like when people used to call up Larry Crane and say, Larry, you got to help me out. My mind is driving me crazy. And his first response is, okay, well, put the owner on the phone. You just told me it's your mind. Your mind is driving you crazy. So stop acting like a victim. Act like you're the owner, right? You just said it's your mind. You're the owner. So step up and act like it. So it's a decision. And it really is a simple decision in the moment that you're deciding to release on something, to just set those thoughts aside. And what I say is, it's like, just put them on the shelf for a moment, right? Just set them on the shelf. It's like, okay, I acknowledge what you're saying. I acknowledge that you exist, mind, and whatever story that you're telling me, it might seem relevant, it might seem true, it might seem important, but you know what? My intention here is to release, and you're just getting in the way for the moment. So I'm just going to put you on the shelf, and I'll get back to you in a moment. I'm just going to focus on the feeling right now. And see, doing that really simplifies the whole process. Because now, when you just set the story aside and you focus on, okay, I need to release on the feeling. And you look at the feeling. It could help you now to easily discriminate. Because basically, when you set the story aside, what's left is, right now in the present moment, it's just you and this feeling. And let's just say that that feeling is fear. Now you can just discriminate. Hey, I have fear. And by the way, this fear that I'm feeling now, this feeling that's coming up, this fear is the same fear in this story as it is in this other story. And it's the exact same fear that's in this other story. Fear is fear is fear. So it's just a feeling right now. And again, I can discriminate. Because with the story aside and not, bombarding me and distracting me, I could look at that fear and say, wait, how does that fear help me? Even if I do have a body problem, how's the fear going to make anything better? The fear doesn't help at all, and right now it's just a feeling. So I'm just going to focus on the feeling. It's just a feeling. I could let that feeling go, right? And we'll practice this in a moment. You'll see. Just focusing on the feeling itself. Okay, I could do that. And a little bit more, a little bit more. And once you let go of enough fear, and you feel light enough, then you could take that story back off the shelf and look at it again, and you'll notice a big difference. Without the feeling, without that other, side of the punch hitting you, you look at that and go, that's just a story. And it's not even necessarily true. And now I could just drop that whole thing. All right, so that's basically how it works. It's very simple and easy. It takes some practice, but this little strategy can get you over 99% of any situation where you feel stuck. And like I said before, that, if you're doing the 6 steps and releasing the desire, it's the exact same thing, right? Because you have the desire, like when I was talking about the trading, and I was feeling out of control, which is a sign I was wanting control. But if I was finding it difficult to let go of that wanting control, it's because my mind was still there trying to figure out and analyze what went wrong and how do I avoid this mistake again, and will I ever get past this mistake? Will I ever be successful? And on and on and on. The story just has so much weight to it and such a distraction that when I just set that distraction aside, put it up on the shelf, then it just lets me focus on, hey, I'm into wanting control, and that doesn't help me at all. Even if I get to mentally fix things and be better at the trading, that if I don't deal with this out of control feeling, this wanting control, ultimately I haven't really gotten anywhere. So I gotta let this wanting control go, because it's something that's getting stirred up by the situation. In fact, the situation is doing me a huge favor. It's showing me where I'm desperately wanting control. I'm wanting things to go my way, and on, that I'm listening to my ego. I'm letting my ego run the show. That's no good. That is not getting me to the goal of having a quiet and peaceful mind. So whether I'm successful in this or not, my number one priority is to let go of that wanting control. And so when I set the story aside, I focus on that. I can discriminate about it and go, yep, that wanting control, it doesn't belong there. I don't need it. And I put it there. I'm the owner of it. And so I can clean that up and get rid of all that wanting control. And as we all experience, want equals lack. When you let that wanting go, you have control. And so by doing that, that enabled me to overcome those situations in trading and get over, and find the success I was looking for without a whole bunch of figuring it out, a whole bunch of other work. Just getting the clarity, getting the results by releasing only. All right, so let's practice this. So think about something that you've been trying to release on, that maybe you've been stuck about. Or think about something that is weighing on you, a situation in your life. Maybe it's a financial problem or a body problem or a relationship problem. You've been spinning around for a while trying to resolve it, trying to let go, and you just seem stuck. You have something in mind? All right, so think about the situation. And again, here on this channel, we're just going to focus on the feeling that's tied to that situation. And notice how you feel about it. Maybe feel regret, fear, anger, frustration. Maybe feel apathy. And first of all, just let yourself feel that feeling for a moment. And you'll probably also notice your mind is talking about the situation that validates why you should feel that way. And it kind of loops back, because the more you feel that anger or apathy or whatever, then it just feeds back into the story. Oh, I can never win. I'm no good. Nothing ever goes my way. Nobody loves me. And, that just goes in a cycle. That's why Lester said, like a thought, feeling sort of a spin, right? They just kind of work together and they feed each other. So let's remove one of these out of the equation for the moment. And it's okay. We're not rejecting the mind. We're not trying to block it out. We're just saying, look, I acknowledge that you're there. You got something to say, but we'll get to you in a moment. We're just going to put you up on the shelf for the moment. And now it's just me right in this moment with this feeling, with the fear, apathy, or whatever. Now, a simple way of dealing with a feeling is by discriminating. So whatever feeling that you're feeling right now, whether it's fear, anger, apathy, grief, pick one. See if you've been saying no to that feeling. And we all do this just kind of naturally and automatically. It's just been our tendency our whole life. Because it just seems obvious that, like, if fear comes up, it's like, ew, I don't like that feeling. I don't want you here. You bother me. Get out of here. So we try to push it away, or we try to push it down. And for lack of better words, we're just saying no to that feeling. Now here's where the discrimination kicks in. Because when you say no to that fear or whatever that feeling is, does that make it go away? It doesn't, does it? In fact, probably you'll notice the more you say no to it, the bigger it gets. And so since saying no doesn't work, what we're going to do is the opposite, right? Because if that doesn't work, well, maybe if we do the opposite, we might get different results. So, take a look at that feeling right now, that you're feeling now in this moment. And could you say yes to that feeling? And that's it. Just simply yes. Just look at it and say yes to it. And could you say yes to that feeling a little bit more? And could you say yes to it a little bit more? And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And a little bit more. All right? Now notice how you feel. Notice if you feel a little bit lighter. Notice the difference? Now, another thing you could do is you can rate that feeling on a scale of 0 to 10. So just see where you are now. You might feel a bit lighter, but there might still be some of it there. And again, that story is just off on the side. It's just you and the feeling right now. And so if it's fear, resistance, anger, whatever, on a scale of 0 to 10, where is it right now? And again, take a look at that fear or whatever that feeling is, and could you say yes to it? And could you say yes to it a little bit more? And could you say yes to it a little bit more? And could you say yes to it even more? And some more. And even more. And see how you feel now. And again, using that ranking, rate yourself again on a scale of 0 to 10 and see if that number dropped, right? So, with that feeling, 10 being the biggest that it is, maybe it went down a couple of notches, right? Notice the difference? Now, if you feel lighter, and if you notice that number dropped, now we're going to just take it a step further. Because you've let go of some of that feeling, and now you've got a little bit of momentum going. So now let go of pushing down on the rest of it, and just let the rest of it come up now. Just allow it to come up and open up a big imaginary door right in front of you, wide enough for that feeling just to pass through that door and leave right now. Just let it come up and leave. Let it pass through. And more. And even more. And more. And some more. and even more. And see how you feel now. See if you feel even lighter. Notice the difference? And now, you could take that story back off the shelf and look at it now and see if it is as true as it was 10 minutes ago or so. Or see if that story just doesn't bother you as much as it did 10 minutes ago. Notice the difference? And you might even notice it's not even true at all. And you could just drop the whole thing, lock, stock, and barrel now. Because you can do that. You're the boss. You're the owner. And so by kind of breaking it down and simplifying it, step by step, you just prove to yourself that you are in charge. Not your feelings, not your mind, not your thoughts, but you. And you could just deal with one thing at a time, and it'll help you. Just deal with it in chunks, right? Just release on the feeling, then look at the story. Oh, okay, now I can just let that whole story go. It doesn't have any substance to it anymore, and so it's easy to let go of now. And now I can hold in mind what I really want, right? My goal of good, perfect health, of abundance, whatever it is that you're really looking for. And ultimately, getting all your desire out of the way so that you put yourself in the position of having that goal easily by releasing only. So that's it. Practice that. And if you want to get really good at this, the best way to keep from getting stuck in the first place is to build momentum. Momentum is key. And the best way to build momentum is showing up at a class, because it just puts you in a place where you take accountability and you surround yourself with like-minded people who are also taking accountability, right? Showing up to be the owner, to be the boss, and to get this work done and reach that goal of having a quiet mind. And with that focus and with the structure and with the consistency that happens when you're in a class, the momentum you build is huge, and you literally let go of lifetimes worth of garbage each and every class. That's why I ask people that show up class after class over and over again, is there a difference between where you are now versus a year ago? And every single person without fail is an astounding yes, absolutely, big difference. Even if they've been releasing for 20 years and doing 20 years of good releasing, just showing up at a class, and just in the past year, there's a huge difference, right? It's that consistency. That's the key. And by the way, that's also in the 6 steps about making releasing constant. So the best way to do that is to join us. Now, the next class that's coming up is a wonderful new class about oneness and relationships and being one with your relationship, with everyone and everything in the world. It really is a powerful approach to releasing, because it's all about taking responsibility, taking accountability. Because for every relationship, you're involved in that relationship. Most of that relationship is your picture. So it's going to get you to look at everything as a relationship, as your picture, which will really help you to clean up whatever's in the way. So all your relationships, whether it's your relationship with people in your life, or your relationship with money, or your relationship with your body, your relationship with everything, it just becomes harmonious and abundant. Really, really wonderful. So I'll put a link to it up here, also in the description below. It's starting next week, so check it out and join us and practice what we just did. It'll make a big difference. So keep it up. Happy releasing, and I'll see you soon.